Hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome into your daily read. We're going to talk about Friday, February 17th, 2023. Thank you so much for joining me for this reading, of course. And do keep in mind, as always, this is general. So just take what resonates and leave the rest behind. But I'm feeling drawn to just channel an overall message moving forward for the majority of my readings. And so I channeled, this is up to you, ... This is up to you. And so I feel like there's I did channel several other messages. Bear with me. Let me find that. We have as well, watch the clock. All right. So there's one, if not multiple reasons to watch the clock. You might have to get somewhere on time, if not multiple places, a decision to make. So that is absolutely tying into, it feels like, the overall message of this is up to you, and no going back. So when you think about the past or you feel the need to compare throughout this day, there's no going back. So don't compare, and allow for oneself to just accept that things are changing, right? Things have changed, and that's a beautiful thing. And everything's purposeful all the meanwhile. Making an impression. And I feel like that's in more than one situation, more than one person, potentially groups of people or one in particular. But I do feel like there's an impression you're making that could tie into that decision, and it being up to you all the meanwhile. But then the last one was taking too long. You may feel a little bit impatient or just, again, have to get somewhere on time. So therefore, some mode of transportation you're waiting for is taking too long, or somebody could be taking too long. There's a sense of you wanting to just get things going, right? Accomplish things, move to the next situation or task. And it's like, okay, let's do this. Let's do this. So let's shift on forward to the three small oracles that I pre-pulled, them being insight, belong, and grounded. All right. And so I do feel like there's levels of insight you're being pushed to utilize throughout this day. You might even be gaining insight in regards to what something's going to entail. Could be a meeting of importance, like an interview. It could be the future of a connection. I feel like you're even helping others gain insight through social media. It could be through your advice, through utilizing your experience, your knowledge, your intuition, or even your spirituality to help. I do feel like I just said that really weird, but bear with me. The peacock feather highlighting the fact that there's simplistic moments where you show off throughout this day. It's almost as if you don't need to, but you choose to. Feeling good about your looks, feeling good about your knowledge or experience, potentially being overqualified for something. I do feel like you are standing out, but you will more so on Saturday. I do feel like there is a little bit of nervousness wrapped up in certain moments throughout this day, but why is that? Could be a spirit or multiple. Definitely happens to me quite often. Could be somebody else's energy. I feel like there are levels of you, moments of you observing throughout this day to gain more insight, to be aware, to simply better understand. But Spirit's saying there's going to be a feeling of you recognizing where you belong, who you belong with, right? In a sense of you just needing to feel the energy, or simply just trust your intuition. What do you feel in that moment, right? And why is it feeling so right? But Spirit's saying all the meanwhile, it's up to you. It's either going to be when you're connecting with somebody, whether it's potential dating or somebody you're already dating. It could be a friend. It could be, again, a meeting of importance, a situation, you name it. It could be more than one thing throughout this day or situation. But it feels like you need to trust your intuition and how you feel in that moment to recognize where you belong in comparison potentially to where and who you didn't belong with. Does that make sense? And so that could definitely tie into what we were saying where you can't go back. But grounded all the meanwhile, because I do feel like it's a day where you're feeling quite grounded, and I feel like Spirit's saying, well, then potentially that ties into the fact that you can't go back to something or somebody, and that was leaving you feeling less grounded than we need you to be at this time and moving forward. But I do feel like there's just a very centered way about you. If you choose to meditate throughout this day, or especially at the beginning, oh man, the benefits, you're going to be feeling so on point and just simplistic in the way you explain, answer, communicate, accomplish, but it feels very efficient and doesn't minimalize what gets done. Does that make sense? Or lessen? I feel like the quality of what you produce and develop throughout this day, on point, my friend. But it feels like there is a very, if you look at this imagery, it's like part of you is coming off very innocent, very pure, right? Okay, your connection to nature coming into play. But I feel like there's another part of you, and could even be kind of a combination of both, where you're coming off very bold, very serious, very mature at this point along your path. There might even be a connection or a moment of thinking about how much you've matured over time, however that comes to be for you. I feel like using the small everyday tarot just to go with the small theme. I'm also hearing imperfection is a beautiful thing. There's a reminder of that throughout this day. Page of Swords and Knight of Swords. So yeah, look at that. Clarity coming through, better understanding. It feels like you're even potentially learning about what you desire and potentially what you once did in comparison. But I feel like all the meanwhile, it's the sense of, I'm getting the winds of change if you look at his clothing. I feel like you're being viewed as somebody who isn't afraid to begin again, even if that's beginning again and again and again and again until you find what's suited for you, what's right for you at this point along your path. There's a sense of a bit of trial and error being highlighted, even if that's more so just over time. But I do feel like you're quite on point once again. And there's a feeling of you being swift in your movement and just getting a lot done, potentially again having to migrate throughout this day, or choosing to, but being grounded through it all. There's a purposefulness about every little movement and holding back, or they're saying lack thereof which, throughout this day. Keep that in mind. But I just feel like all the meanwhile you are doing better than you were in the previous days. I mean, Thursday's reading was about how you were shining brighter throughout that day than you were previously. But it feels like a gradual improvement of you just feeling better. It could be health-wise. Oh, thank goodness if that's about me. But it could be also more so your vibration, how you're feeling a bit brighter, right? And Spirit's saying this is coming nicely paired with a level of groundedness that's leaving things just working out for you. And there's that reminder, things are working out for you, even if it fully doesn't feel like it at times, or things have felt a bit out of control, things are working out, period. So let the concerns dissipate, fall to the wayside as you will just do what you have to do. There's a feeling that you do feel a bit trapped in a situation. I feel like certain disappointments, or one in particular, is being highlighted from the recent past. I do feel like a lot of you are learning about a new beginning for oneself. Any levels of stress or chaos coming into play, just move to a new situation or don't let it get the best of you. Feels very minor throughout this day. What else do we have? Okay, the Hanged Man in reverse. So there's a sense of you needing to stick to what you know, or just trust what you're learning. There's a sense of Spirit saying, we don't need to adjust your perspective or what you're feeling, what you want to go for even, or continue, or both, because there's a feeling that through the insight that you've gained over time, your intuitive hits, your spirituality tying into it, what you're learning, it's you just know. So just trust that, okay? Because we're not going to try to adjust your perspective or your decision that you choose to make moving forward. So yeah, trust yourself. That's a huge reminder throughout this day. The Chariot and the Emperor, because I feel like, again, you're very serious at times when you're producing, developing, but then that pure, caring nature comes through all the meanwhile, or shortly after that. But I do feel like there's a motivated way about how you just, again, but grounded way about how you do what you do, and you do it well. But I just feel like this day highlights the fact that, again, things are falling into place even if it doesn't feel like it. But you may feel like at certain points you have to protect your energy. It may feel like you're manifesting quite efficiently for some drawn to this reading. But look at that. It's a very magical day overall, even if it doesn't fully feel like it 24/7. But I feel like you are needing to recognize, once again, we've said it in recent daily reads, what was cut out, even if it wasn't feeling in control for you, within your control, meant to be. But there's a feeling that, say you choose to take something on, throughout this day, or you choose to continue something, it may leave you having to make a decision to cut something else out. But either way, or somebody else out, an option potentially. But it just feels like a very purposeful, successful day where through levels of insight, recognizing, remembering, or remembering where you belong or who you belong with, your grounded, motivated way about you is just leaving things falling into place for you quite smoothly. It's a day that simply reminds you it's up to you, but things are falling into place. Beautiful. So I hope this was truly helpful. Sending you so much love and light. Go enjoy your day, and I'll see you next time.